Hey folks, welcome to Friday, the 23rd of September 2021. And we've seen quite a bit of downside volatility on equities and mainly the DAX this morning. Bit of taking some heat off at the top on what has been a great rebid in these markets after the Jerome Powell session, of course, on Wednesday evening around 7:30 GMT, in which Jerome really stood by and said that there's not going to be any softening. There is no specific timeline on tightening at this time, and so the markets have firmly since then taken an opportunity to move through to the upside. And so if we go across onto these charts, you'll see here on the DAX. We've got this lovely pull down here that we had into the 150.16. That was, of course, the low of the 19th of July. Really phenomenal area to get involved. And now we've kind of come back on up as of yesterday into the 50 EMA this morning, starting off quite high in bid, as you can see here on the electronic exchange open for the DAX, which is at midnight. Of course, and then just coming off really down, has been down around almost 1% through this morning. But really quite a lot of buying coming in at this 15,495s level. Of course, that is the high here of the, what do we got here? We've got the 16th of April this year. I think this market can really hold in this sort of area here below. I'll just make that a different color for you. I think we can hold in this area with the 100 EMA supportive of this area, and then push on for potentially into the 15,788s. Is that going to happen today? No, I don't see that happening today, but certainly over the course of the next kind of 10 trading days, that looks like a pretty decent area to get bid up from. So moving over to the NASDAQ and focusing on these US markets, you can see this morning, if I show you on the daily chart, you can see that really the 50 EMA looms quite large to the downside, confluent with the high that we've seen on the 27th of July and almost the same high as the 26th, providing quite the resistance when the market does close below here, and did find it quite hard to get through there through most of August, and then the 23rd of August, big push up into those new all-time highs. Should we pull down to test this area today? 15,124 is confluent with the 50 EMA S2 just below. I think there's good reason for there to be buyers in that area. And if I just highlight really the range that we saw over the FOMC, this is sort of the volatility area on the FOMC. I think we could easily just kind of work down here and try and pick up those buyers again and put in a decent finish for the weekend on the Nasdaq. Let's see, what else can we find here on the SPOOs, for example, on the daily. Yeah, the SPOOs into the 100 EMA, nice clean trade and bid on up then thereafter. Doji on the second day from Monday's downside volatility. If I just kind of highlight that a bit easier for you there. Yeah, you see that pull down here into the 100 EMA, and then lovely doji the following day, inverted hammer. It's more of a doji, and then we get on up. So again, the 50 EMA should provide some support, but I think ultimately, if there is a retest on the 43.74.5 on the downside, we should try and pick up some buyers in this area. I really do like the look of that trade. These markets are firmly skewed to the upside, both on a fundamental point of view and a technical point of view from where I sit. So I do like that area. Let's see how she trades during the day. Yeah, and then looking over at the Dow. Yeah, I have this area, the 100 EMA, 34,210s on the downside. I do like the look of this area, given that Monday's volatility down to revisit the low of the 19th of July. And, nice little touch there on Monday. And we've, again, similar to the SPOOs, doji, and then up we go. So a bit of a job done for the bulls in some respect here, back to the 50. I think if this does come back to the 100 and test, I think you're gonna see a lot of buying coming in here. Should it flush, I think that will be temporary. And the longs should definitely get to work here and push us into sort of highs on the last 2 weeks. I think next week, so we should get up over above 34,775s there. Um, oil, there's really only one way to trade oil, and that's by buy and hold. Really, this year, oil was a tricky trade. Really coming into 2020 actually, and then but through since the lows, such a great performance out of oil. I think, given there's a lot of talk about BP closing some petrol stations in the UK yesterday. Is that going to affect the price here? No, it's not, but it is going to affect consumers getting access to petrol is the problem, and that problem is arising not from a supply issue, but more of a delivery and sort of logistical reason, in that there just are not enough HGV drivers able to distribute the petrol to these petrol stations around the UK. So, I don't foresee an impact on oil. I think if you do see big moves on oil today, I don't really think it's going to be driven by what's happening with BP in the UK and petrol generally in the UK. I think, while the market has done a great job getting up into the high 73.70, which is also the high of the 30th of July, I think we could easily just reverse back down to yesterday's Asia Pac range high, 72.54s. And then I'd be interested in seeing where is the buying going to come in here. Are we even going to go down to 71.43s for the buying to come in? I don't think it'll go that deep. I think we could spend a little bit of time below our S1, and then make our way back up here to kind of put in some more gains on the week for oil. Currently sitting about negative 0.19% on the session. If you do see a really big pullback here, I'm not going to talk about that. I can't see that happening. But 69.35's defense line, and of course the 100 EMA at 67.61. Dollar now is waking up quite a bit actually. So we had this range in the dollar come in over the Jerome Powell and the Fed event on Wednesday, and you can see that range has been really worked from one side to the other over the last 2 days. Well, since Wednesday, and we're now kind of bidding back up off of those lows. I think 93.44s looks like we're going to trade there. And then the big question is, if we put a couple of hourly closes above that, then I think we are easily going to push on in the Dixie. But this dollar and euro USD trade is it's really a tough one to get on for any duration at this time. I think you're seeing pretty decent risk off. If I pull up T-notes here, you can see just that this risk off tone is completely prevalent here in equities up, bonds down. Looking at gold while we're speaking about risk, gold really got hammered yesterday to the downside. You can see here, we're closing at the moment currently 1752 spot fours. For me, I think this market is generally weak, and we should trade and breach this week's lows. If not in this session, then I think early next week. Generally the occurrence that's happened here is we're just departing from this support area and we just can't hold it. So, that is essentially the support now turning resistance in this zone. I think gold's a very hard trade to get on, to be honest, at this, over the last kind of 6 months, to be honest. And then cable, the BOE standing firm, no rate hike yesterday, very strong for the pound, but really it's taken back quite a bit of that now. It's down 0.38% on the session. Okay, that's it for me for today. Thanks for tuning in. Any questions, as always, hit me up in the Discord room, and I'll be more than happy to answer any that you have. And if I don't see you, have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you Monday morning. Cheers.